In its report published on the 1st of September, Amnesty International said Eritrean forces continue to commit war crimes including rape, mass execution, and pillage in Tigray despite the signing of a peace deal. The rights group also accused the Eritrean forces of possible crimes against humanity committed against civilians in Tigray. Speaking to Tigray TV on Wednesday, Amnesty International's Regional Deputy Director for East and Southern Africa, Sarah Jackson, stated that Ethiopia's federal government had the responsibility to investigate the crimes committed by Eritrean forces, prosecute the perpetrators.
Well, the Ethiopian government has a responsibility to investigate and prosecute those responsible for these crimes, namely the Eritrean forces in this situation. At the moment, that seems to be unlikely, and it's particularly important that other investigations happen too. Amnesty International is standing with several other organizations in calling for the renewal of the international commission mandated by the UN Human Rights Council to investigate crimes in the conflict in northern Ethiopia and to preserve evidence. We're also calling for the African Commission to reinstate their Commission of Inquiry into the situation in Tigray region. That was prematurely disbanded without even the publication of a report into its findings. So it's really critical that there are regional and international investigations into the current situation and that evidence is preserved so that families of victims and survivors of these violations might one day see justice.
Amnesty's report highlighted that Eritrean forces committed intentional killing of civilians and sexual violence in Kokhab Tzabah, eastern Tigray, and Mariam Shawito, central Tigray. The rights group interviewed 11 survivors of rape and sexual slavery in Kokhab Tzabah district, where more than 40 women told a local civil society organization that they had been subjected to rape and sexual slavery after the signing of the Pretoria Peace Agreement. According to the recent report, some women were raped inside Eritrean Defense Forces military camp, either in their own homes or inside homes taken over by the EDF.
When we're looking at what happened in Mariam Shawito district shortly before the cessation of hostilities, we have documented the extrajudicial execution of 20 civilians. We have also received information of many more cases that we have not been able to remotely verify. In Kokhab Tzabah, we have documented the extrajudicial execution of 24 civilians, and we have also documented cases of sexual slavery by the Eritrean Defense Forces of women who they held for this period, both in a military camp and also in residential houses. In both locations, Amnesty International documented pillage of the belongings, the livestock of these families.
Sarah says despite the provisions in the Pretoria Agreement, there are no meaningful steps towards transitional justice process that will make perpetrators accountable and redress the survivors, and that makes the regional and international investigations critical.
I mean, at this point, we don't see a transitional justice process unfolding in Ethiopia that would lead to accountability for the range of violations that have been committed. We see a focus on reconciliatory approaches over trials, and it's absolutely vital that the issue of impunity, which has been long-standing in Ethiopia over several administrations, is addressed. And so it's for this reason that we think that these regional and international bodies still have a role to play.
On the 23rd of August, Amnesty International, alongside other civil society and human rights organizations, sent an open letter to the African Commission on Human and People's Rights to reconsider its decision to terminate its inquiry into human rights violation in Tigray and declare its findings.